Angry bub. He's an angry bub.
I try my best to get this field here watered at night, but you know, life is life. And today we're gonna have to start out watering, which is not ideal because it takes quite a bit of time, as you can see, especially with this really dense clay, rocky soil. Here it's just a battle. Every single day is just, I don't know, to be honest, it's kind of taken the fun out of gardening for me. But a little bit of that is my own fault. I should have been better prepared. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. It would be a lot easier if I had a legit irrigation system. Part of the reason that this sucks so bad for me is because I have a pretty short temper, and yeah, the whole hose twisting and wrapping and warping and kinking every 5 feet, it gets pretty old pretty quick. So it makes what to me normally, would be an enjoyable time to relax and check out my plants and see how they're doing and how they're getting along. It's just purely a chore now. It just makes my morning really unpleasant. So in the future, this is just not sustainable. I'm either gonna have to put in some type of irrigation system or move away from annuals altogether, which I don't really see happening because annuals are just the fastest way to breed, and breeding is my whole get down. So, I'll probably just get off my ass and put the irrigation in. I kind of got in late this year due to some stuff with my realtor, but I got in nonetheless. So I still wanted to at least try to get something out of the season. The timing really screwed me because I was supposed to move into a spot months ago. So a lot of the plants I had started I timed it perfectly to where, they'd be 2 or 3 weeks sprouted. Nice start, not too far along. And then they had to sit in pots at somebody else's house for months, and that was just not good. So aside from having to fight this almost 90% rock clay soil that doesn't absorb any water, I also had plants that were root bound and overgrown. So when I threw them into the soil, they were completely shocked, and then the root system wasn't developed enough to actually compensate for the heat and lack of water up top, and half the plants died out, which is fine because I took this year as a test year anyway. And I really like to put my plants under stress. So the fact that some did survive shows me that it wasn't a complete waste of time. And I'll be able to gather at least a few seeds of special individuals to work with over the next couple of years. I preferred to have gotten in here on time and started from seed, but I know all this now, so hindsight's 2020. And not even that, I kind of knew that it was just going to be a crappy year, but it just, the reality of it is just, hurts my heart. I do this every day. It works the best for me. I tried goats in the pen, didn't like it. I don't generally like animals in a pen if I can avoid it. But yeah, it didn't work for me. Didn't like it. Didn't like them in there. This way they get to get out. They get to work the land, which was my original intention for these goats. These are Nigerian dwarf goats. They're all registered through the ADGA. But my purpose with them was primarily land management. And then, of course, I got registered stock so that I could make selections, have a decent herd and sell babies here and there to supplement whatever cost they incur. They also produce milk, which is pretty awesome. Everything on the farm likes milk, myself included. It makes cheese, it makes soap with it. It's pretty good stuff all around. And Nigerian dwarf goat especially is high in butterfat, so it's really not goaty. It's sweet and creamy. These guys just don't produce very much is the issue. But that's fine for me because I can't really drink very much milk myself. And it's just me and my mom here and the pups. So I don't really need a lot of milk. So as you can see here, we got a ton of this what do you call it? Poison oak, poison ivy, whatever. Poison oak, we'll call it poison oak. Yeah, we got a ton of this poison oak all over the place. And these guys love it. They eat it up. And it seems really good for them because every time I put my milking doe onto a patch of poison, she milks like 3 or 4 times as much as normal. They're also fertilizing as they go and trampling down these higher weeds so that they can get pushed down into the soil and start to break down and fuel next year's growth. And if you leave the vegetation up from the year prior, it's harder for the seedlings of the next year to come up. There's the whole field. Making this video, I kind of had to compromise between showing the actuality and the reality of what is involved in day-to-day work on a property like mine, and also showing the reality of the work involved on a farm of this scale. And my particular farm is 17 acres, mostly forested. Maybe 2 acres of pasture and developed. And showing and not making a 5-hour video. I hate super long videos myself. I only made this because I want to have some type of transparency, so I tried not to edit it all down to nothing. But at the same time, I did edit out quite a bit, and I did have to speed up quite a bit because otherwise this just would have been too long. There's a lot involved with the day-to-day, and yeah, it takes a long time. Oh no, chickens and turkeys, oh, they're gonna get blackhead, oh, look at their heads, they're turning black, oh. Hey. This is my milking doe, Kitty. Kitty Wells, I think her name is on paper, but I usually just call it Kitty Bayama. Most people won't understand the reference. Trying to get her trained, but she's pretty strong-willed, and I got her as an adult, so she's already kind of set in her ways. Goats are kind of a challenge to train. Trained a lot of animals, but goats are kind of unique. There's a decent amount of milk. And here comes the cleanup crew. This is just temporary. We're working on something for them. They kept escaping. There's the field again. And here's my little kitchen garden. I have on one sock because I have a huge cut on my right foot that I don't want to keep irritating. Working on the pigeons recall here. These are homing pigeons, so they need to have a strong recall. This is Chungus, and he's kind of a bully, as you can see. This was a terrible idea. I thought that an open bowl would be better for the chickens and turkeys, because I use that with hawks, falcons, pigeons, pretty much every other animal. For some reason, these guys are really disgusting and filthy, and they like to poop in the water and kick dirt into the water and just make it disgusting. And I have to clean the bowl 3 or 4 times a day, and yeah, not happening. But you live and you learn. Please excuse the mess, but I have like 12 projects going on over here at once, and this will all be cleaned up in 2 or 3 days. That's not a wristband, by the way, that's a mosquito deterrent. And there's some grit in there. We gotta get some bigger size. Actually, we gotta get pretty huge now. This here is a naked neck roo, little dude, but I could tell he was acting funny. He's always been acting funny since he was a chick. He stays towards the back, doesn't engage. So I put a marker on him. He's gonna go towards food. I don't like mean chickens or unfriendly chickens. I like cool chickens. Hey guys. Flariagre, Liege, Bielfelder. This thing rolled away, came downhill and landed here. I wonder who could have pushed that. This little garden was meant to be for our kitchen. It has zucchinis on the back, beans, peppers, tomatoes, herbs, a Jerusalem artichoke. You know, things that we use regularly. Jerusalem artichokes we use regularly. But things that we use regularly. And it just... man, I learned a lesson from this. Like, don't ever trust infrastructure that's already in place. You don't know who built it. You don't know what they did with it. You don't know anything about it. And that's exactly what happened here. I came into this thinking, oh, look, raised beds. There's already soil in there and yada yada. So I just turned the beds and added amendments. Awful. Horrible placement. Whatever soil this is dog water. It's just... And this, if you can even call it a hugel culture in the back, it's basically just a bunch of bark with about 2 inches of soil on top. I thought when I planted into it that there was some depth, but no, it's pretty much 100% just bark and sticks. Awful. It's been a terrible year for me all around. We have a few little standouts, and I am happy for that. Very grateful for that, because I can start working with those. But overall, it's just been kind of a wash. Just really dismal yields. And poor quality fruits in a lot of cases. Not all cases, but in some cases, they're pretty bad. Tomatoes were not good. Most of them. The one good thing about living in such a hot, dry climate is that it's very hard for parasites to take hold. The ground doesn't ever stay dry, wet enough, long enough for them to get established. They just basically get cooked out. But the same goes for your plants and animals. Tammy. Trying to dial in the chicken's nutritional needs. Each of these young stags is getting about 8 ounces. No, 1 ounce. Each of these young stags is getting about an ounce of feed. I give it to them twice a day, and then if they don't eat at all within 10 minutes, I'll take it away. And then I kind of subtract what they don't eat individually and adjust feed accordingly. My little dude right there, he's getting big. The white stag at the top right, that's JJ. He's a radio, but he's a throwback. So he's got I think he's got a single dominant white gene, and then he's got that underlying black-breasted red kind of deal going on. This is all my mom's stuff, but she's away right now, so I'm taking care of it. Time to make the piggy food. I'm just soaking this. It makes it a little more palatable for the piggies. Adds a little moisture. That's all. I don't ferment or anything like that. All this lint here is because Tweedledee and Tweedledum decided to tear apart their bed last night. And all these cans are because somebody wanted to knock over the bag to look for food. Pretty busy today, so I didn't have time to stop and pick up any of this stuff till later, but I did pick it up, trust me. I don't just leave my house. I don't just leave my stuff like this. Trust me. Just trust me. Yeah, I wonder who knocked over the recycling. Second milking of the day. This is about noon. Like I said, I put Kitty on that poison oak and she just dumps. She just dumps. She gonna dump that milk, Bubba. Actually has pretty small teats, but I don't really mind, because like I said, her main purpose is to keep brush down for fire risk. Oh look, my little helper. I'll consider it. Nap time. About noon, everybody usually hunkers down. Pretty hard to move when it gets over 100. See, everybody sleep. Sleep. World's oldest dog, sleep. The world's baddest pig, sleep. After eating lunch, decided to do a little training with the piggies. These are going to be breeder pigs, so I want them to be well-mannered. After a few sessions, I was able to tell which of the pigs is the most trainable, which one is the most nice, which one, you know what I mean? All the traits, attributes of each pig. Hammy, the male, the boar, I will not be working with him. He is a boar, so if you've ever had a if you ever had a pig, yeah, I'm not gonna be working with him. I'm gonna teach him basic manners, sit. I pick him up all the time just so he's used to it, basic stuff. But I'm not gonna be doing anything extensive with him. He's too hard-headed. This pig here, I will be working with. This is the most trainable, most intelligent pig, the spotted one with the wattles. That is Porkeisha. My mom named it. The black pig here is Porchetta. She's a sweeter, nicer pig, but she's less trainable. She's not as smart. So I'm interested in intelligence, so I'm gonna go ahead and work with Porkeisha instead. I'm gonna work with them both, but it's pretty time intensive to properly train an animal, so I don't think I'll have time for two. Here I'm just making waters and feeders for my chickens out of recycled stuff, reduce, reuse, recycle. And here are the pigs destroying my setup as I'm putting my camera together. Classic pig move. I'm gonna try to put holes through this plastic with this nail for a while, figure out it doesn't work and move on. And meanwhile, the pigs are gonna keep messing my stuff up. This is where I'm not working with Hammy. That's it. Pick him up, show him his boss real quick. And these guys are going to bed for the night because I cannot handle it. Because pigs do not help work. Pigs do not help anything. Pigs just do not help. Pigs are pigs. This is what pigs do. They eat and they poop. The reason I'm making YouTube videos now, the reasons that I'm making YouTube videos now, there's a few of them. I guess mainly YouTube has kind of taught me a lot of what I know. I've been doing the whole gardening. I'll say I've been gardening professionally and nonstop for at least 10 years in some capacity. I've been raising animals my entire life. They're my passion. I love biology. I love life. I love breeding. I love lamp. It's just, I want to give back in the way that I gained so much. So if I can somehow help somebody else who's in the same situation as me, because if you grow or you raise animals, you know that where you're at makes a huge difference. And I rarely see people with the same type of context as I have. You know, we don't have water half the year. A lot of people don't have to deal with that. That's a challenge. So a lot of the things you learn here won't be relevant. So I want to give back in that way. I also want to kind of reach out to others who do the same thing as I do, who are like-minded, so we can kind of workshop, or if we could trade genetics, you know what I mean? Networking, essentially. I'm just gonna throw these onto these chicken cages here so that the guys can eat and drink. But yeah, also I kind of want to show a more realistic idea of what it's like to have a farm, because like, I'm not rich. I've never been rich or anything like that. The only reason I had money to buy this place was because I sold my last home, which I bought years ago, and I sold it for a really good profit when the market was high, and I was able to get all this. Otherwise, I would never have this ability. I was doing the same thing on a much smaller scale in the city for the longest time. I had full-grown pigs, hawks, rabbits, everything right there in the city, but maybe the city that I come from is more conducive to that type of environment. I mean, like, the place I grew up, there's chickens running in the street. Everybody's got chickens. Dogs running loose. You know what I mean? We don't have sidewalks. That type of place. But it was in the city, you know? But I kind of lived like a Huck Finn kind of childhood, where we would float down the canal and throw sand in each other's eyes and catch catfish and have bluegill catching contests. You know, all-American type youth, even though we came from a pretty rough place. But I digress. Yeah, so the point being, I want to network with other like-minded people. I want to help, maybe if I can help, you know, one person not make the mistakes that I've made, then that's enough for me. I'm not looking to get big or get over a certain number of subscribers or followers or anything like that. I really don't care. Because this isn't like a source of income for me. So I don't record a lot of stuff because I don't really have time to stop and set up a camera and do all that, because this isn't like a hobby thing for me. My hobby is actually the plants and animals. So I will miss a lot of stuff, but that's just, you know, that's where my priorities are. I care about my plants and animals, not about making videos. I mean, like I said, making videos, it's cool, it's fun and all that, but it's not paying the bills or anything like that, and I don't really need it to. So there's that. I'll always try to show the most realistic version of what my setup is as I can. I'm not going to edit out things like the garbage on the ground or the garbage on the ground, or, you know, I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna show what it is. It is what it is. You know what I mean? There's a lot of work here to handle, and it's not like I can just stop everything on a dime to make something look pretty if it's functioning. A lot of the people that I see on YouTube, kind of the whole hobby farm thing, the fake farm thing, like I don't really approve of that. I don't agree with that. Like, no, I mean, if you want to have a hobby farm, that's fine. I think that's cool. That's awesome. But I mean, like, oh, clickbait, look at my dying animal. Oh no, what are we gonna do? Oh, you know what I mean? And they have like a dead animal passed out in the thing, and I don't know, there's some people that are just irk me. It's just cringe, like, ugh. Or like,
Ooh, Tommy's first time out. Ooh.
like, ugh. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't like it. And I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna be true to life like I am. It is what it is. You like me or you don't. Can't please all the people all the time, and I, for one, have never tried to. My goal is to stay true to myself. Whatever you got going on, you know what I mean? More power to you, but that's what you got going on, not me. See if I put that rant on there. That's pretty ranty. But that's how I feel, you know? I don't like people who exploit their animals and stuff for views or clicks. It's just gross. It's like if your grandma was dead and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? You put that as your, you put your dead grandma like as your thumbnail. You know what I mean? Like that's how it feels to me. I don't know. It's gross. Don't like it. But I'll hop off the soapbox. Shit eater. I didn't kick her. I pushed her. Oh, by the way, if you think I'm an animal abuser, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, and leave a comment below. Tell me how you think I'm best at animal abusing. Or how you think I could do better at animal abusing. This is like, I feed these guys probably on average 3 times a day. I really don't like feed sitting in there because that creates a lot of problems. With these guys, you don't have to worry so much about the buffet eating, like where they pick out just what they want because they only have one thing to eat. But it gets on the ground and it sits there and it gets nasty and moldy or whatever, and then they'll pick it up and eat it. And I don't like that. Or I don't like their food to touch poop. So I just put in what they can finish at one sitting and then come back later. It's not like I'm going anywhere. I've been working with the goats on getting them to follow, but it's a work in progress. They're doing a lot better though. They just tend to get tied up and it's kind of frustrating. But otherwise, they're pretty good. Even Pixie, the littlest one right there, she acts wild because she wasn't raised. These are all bottle babies except for her. She's a little wild. These little pups. I bought their sister first, and it was one of the best dogs I've ever owned. So I went back and I bought those two. Same ladies, same parents. They're half English Mastiff, half Blue Nose Pit Bull. She wasn't making the cross on purpose, but she unwittingly made a pretty legit dog. So I'm very happy with them. They're really good guard dogs. They're loyal. They're friendly. They're smart. They have all the qualities of a good dog that I want. A blue nose with a big body. Those are the little chicks underneath there. Gotta work on the recall. Some of these birds are still kind of sketchy. But yeah, the pups are awesome. Love them. Couldn't operate the farm without dogs. It's impossible. When we first moved in, I lost 2 goats because I had them out in the front without the dogs. And I learned my lesson real quick. Gotta keep the dogs out. Moose protects the backyard. Max protects the front. The pups are the backup. Fatty's indoors. And Spuddy takes care of the rats. I don't normally feed them on the ground. It's not really the best because of pathogens and whatnot, but I was pressed for time and I couldn't find their bowls. As you can see, it's getting dark. Rabbits eat twice a day. Again, I don't like leaving the food sitting. Those are American chinchilla rabbits, but they haven't been producing. It's been a year since they had any babies. I'll try this winter to get them to have some more. They're young, probably 3 and 2. Alright, time to set it for milking number 3. I pretty much milk her based off of how full her teats are. And when she has access to forage, then she really puts out. So I try to milk her at least 3 times a day. Nope, she wasn't done. This milking stand was kind of a fudge up, so it's kind of just got like a little clip on there to clip the collar to, and she can pull back, and I don't like it, so sometimes I just won't even clip it. When she's done, she's done. Oh, look at that. That's nice. Nobody's gonna be. It's just gonna be sitting here. Then there's another mouse. There's one over here, right? I don't want to leave that. Oh, let it get out of here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe just hurry up. Just a little faster. Oh, okay.